First of all, to be a birdwatcher, you must make sure that you blend in with your surroundings, and this means that you must dress completely in camouflage. Dressed suitably for the weather conditions, which means that your layers need to have layers. And finally, you need to grow out a massive grey beard. See, I've already started. Alternatively, if you're not a fan of beards, all you really need to be a birdwatcher is to go outside and start paying attention to the things around you. Or, if you have sight of a garden from your window, you can sit in the comfort of your own home and participate in RSPB's Big Garden Birdwatch. So the RSPB has been running the Big Garden Birdwatch for about the last 40 years, which has allowed them to gather a huge amount of data about how wildlife is actually doing. For example, the seemingly common house sparrow has actually declined by 53% since the Big Garden Birdwatch began. Fortunately, they have bounced back a little bit, increasing by about 10% in the last decade, which is why it's so important for people to take part in the Big Garden Birdwatch so we can know how things are doing and know how we can help further. So how do you do the Big Garden Birdwatch? Well, you choose 1 hour between the 29th and the 31st of January to sit and count as many birds as you can see in your garden. But you only count as many as you can see at any given time. So for example, if a robin landed in your garden, then it flew off again, then 5 minutes later another robin came and landed in your garden, you only count 1 because you only saw 1 at a time. Whereas if there was 2 blackbirds on the floor, you'd count 2 blackbirds because you saw 2 at one given time. And you only count birds that actually land rather than those that fly over. Tip number 1 is to put bird seed and water in your garden to attract the birds. Tip 2 is to be attentive. Whether you're out and about or at home, start paying attention to the different sounds you hear, start looking at something seemingly boring, like this hedge, and see if you notice anything move. And if you do, then zone in on it and watch it for a bit. Tip 3 is to pay attention to the bird's features. Now this one is a bit of a tricky one because lots of people tend to describe birds by their size or colour, but both of these change depending on the person's perspective and on the light conditions. Instead, focus on something I call SMACS. S-M-A-C-S. Stands for the shape of the bird, so the silhouette of the bird, the shape of the beak, the tail, the back, etc. M is for markings, not just colour, but markings. So is that red bit that you see on the chest or on the face? Does the bird have a spotty chest or stripy chest, for example? A is for actions. Does the bird generally feed on the floor or a branch or on a bird table? Is it a bold bird or more shy and twitchy bird? C is for call. Now this can be really hard sometimes, but is very useful, so pay attention to the sound a bird makes. Now there's a person on Instagram called Ben Porter who does really good videos about bird songs, and there's also someone called Lucy Lapwing on YouTube who also does a really good series about different bird songs, so check them out. And finally, size. How big is it in comparison to a species that you do know? For example, is it bigger or smaller than a robin? You don't need anything to do the Big Garden Birdwatch. All you need is your eyes, your ears, a little bit of patience and lots of enthusiasm. And also the RSPB do these sheets, these little check sheets. They've got pictures of the birds that you may see. You can use this whilst doing the watch, and then you can submit your information online or through the post. And I'll pop the RSPB's website below to take you straight to it. So if you could comment below and tell me the best thing that you've seen in your garden, and don't forget to share this video so that more people could take part.